Just to see what you guys think about this, but get ready because it's gonna make you mad. When I saw this, it made me... So I don't know if I can keep it cool. I'll try to keep it cool. But here we are. Check this out. So Elon Musk commented on the New York Times publication. And he said, "The New York Times is utterly disgusting." And the title of the... You can see the screen. "Disorder, not a crime." What? What are we even doing here? This is the real question. And before you say, yeah, but look, this is an old article. Who cares? And besides... This is, you say, straight to the wood chip. Absolutely, my friend. But I'm interested, I'm intrigued, because I need to understand what is the message here. What are they trying to do? Now, given the Mike Lee here is saying, no, it's a crime, this is delusional. You know how pedantic I am, but this is the one time I'm not going to be pedantic about this, because I'm really interested in what they're trying to do. The only way that this can be interpreted is they are trying to make it more acceptable. Am I overreacting? Am I reading too much into it? Because I don't see any other reason as to why you would publish anything like this. Not to mention, I mean, I don't want to go conspiratorial and be like, did they know that the Epstein file was going to happen? So were they trying to kind of get the masses used to the idea? Maybe I'm getting too conspiratorial about that at this point. So I mentioned it. I got it out of my system. I won't mention it again because I have no way to prove it. But this is weird. There is an episode of TED Talk that is exactly this, and it's a lot more recent. So someone is moving something to try and make being a PDF file acceptable societally. There's no question about that. And we reject it. We reject it. Never gonna happen. Now, New York Times says PDF file isn't a crime. Elon Musk calls it utterly disgusting. He's right. Elon Musk directed his social media attack on the New York Times this week. Here's why he's taken an issue with a years-old article. Okay. Again, irrelevant that it's years old, if they are still doing it. New year, new Elon Musk roast with last year's PDF file dug at US President Donald Trump administration. I'll talk about this, by the way, as well. The Tesla CEO proved that he wouldn't shy away from attacking anyone even remotely appearing to stand by the problematic matter. Once again, the SpaceX boss stood on business as he took aim at the New York Times this week for the same reason. Guys, let's keep this in mind. The New York Times represented the former supreme leader of Iran, the one that got cancelled out of this planet. They were like a man who made Iran a major power and was a cleric, dies because of the... Really. And did you see what Cenk said about it? Cenk Uyghur, I don't even know how to pronounce it, that clown. Widening development particularly grabbed quite the attention on X as the world awaits official word to learn which all high-profile personalities were involved with the late financier Jeffrey Epstein's nefarious crimes. And I want to say this right now. Whoever was involved, and it's proved by a court of law beyond any shadow of a doubt, needs to be enormous consequences for it. I don't even care who he is. But it has to be proven. And that's important. Just having your name on the files is not enough to be like, oh, this guy did this, this, and that with kids. Wait, you need to prove it. That's an essential part of our legal system. It has to be proven. If you're a person of power, I think it does. It's just to be expected that your name will be in the mouth of people that will talk about you. Now, if you have direct contact... But did you know? That's really the question that we need to ask. You have to prove it, though. But if it is proven, I don't care who it is. Including his operation, a sex trafficking ring preying on young women and underage girls, the backlash is louder than ever. Yeah, as it should be. As people continue to assert that no one should be above the law, regardless of their wealth and power. I agree, 100%. But unfortunately, this is not the world that we inhabit, and we have to be cognizant about that. In theory, it should be the justice system. In reality, it is the legal system. And those are not synonymous. Like, we have to be, if we want to address this problem, because it is a problem, you're wealthy, you get away with stuff, you don't have the money, you don't, it's not just. But it is part of the system for how it's baked. So it's pointless to be like, oh, but everyone is equal under the law. In theory, but it's not the case. It just isn't. And I'm not even talking about scenarios where, oh, you're rich, so they're pretending that this never happened, or they let you out even though you should have been. Yeah, that's obviously something. But even the concept of bail is unjust, because if you're poor, you can't pay bail. If you're rich, you can. So you get out. And maybe you go and try to figure out ways to to talk to lawyers and people so that you can organize, and even the fact that you can afford like 10 times the lawyer that I can afford if you're super rich. So of course your legal defense is going to be stellar. All of this is based on the idea that we are not equal. Therefore, it's not true that we are all equal under the law, unfortunately. Now, it would be, I think, a fantastic opportunity for the legal system and for our government, and in general governments all around the world, to take this as an opportunity. I'm not saying to make it perfect, because it's not and it never will be, the justice system, the legal system, but at least to show that, yeah, you can be powerful and have money and contacts, but up to a certain extent. Like, there has to be a line that cannot be crossed. Because otherwise, at this point, these judges, they'll have to face God's justice. If you're enjoying this video so far, please take a moment to check out my Patreon page. With as little as a $5 support, you can help us ensure that we can continue to produce high quality and high researched content. And at the same time, you get access to polls, extra videos, unlisted streams, and much more. Thank you so much. And you know what I think when it comes to the Jeffrey Epstein thing? I think I watched the whole Netflix documentary, by the way, even though I hate Netflix, but I did watch that documentary. One thing that I noticed that they said is that his, I think it's like, what, $18 million mansion in New York, that mansion had cameras in every room, including the bathrooms and everything, hidden cameras. And so what he would do, if you think about it, this guy was a damn demon. Imagine that you are like a popular rich person. He would invite you and he'd be like, so what do you want? What are you into? And maybe you know that he can give you whatever you want. So you tell him your filthiest, dirtiest secrets. And he provides, he gives you what you want. And you're like, well, he did it too. So, I mean, it's not like he's going to accuse me because he did it too. So he will go down with me. No, it's the other way around because he filmed you. And so now this guy probably was able of blackmailing everyone, including his operation. Okay. So why is Elon Musk doing this? The New York Times is utterly disgusting. Elon Musk declared on X this, yeah, and he's right. His post was a response to U.S. Senator Mike Lee's tweet, in which the politician also called out the American news outlet for a years-old opinion-based article titled "Pedophilia: A Disorder, Not a Crime." What a gross title! Lee countered the New York Times. No, it's a crime. This is delusional. And then so back in 2014, Margaret Kaplan, a professor of law at Rutgers Law School, contributed to an editorial for the New York Times calling for pedophilia to be classified as a disorder, not a crime. So a professor... Unbelievable. Professor, it's always these freaking universities. What is it with the university system? Goodness gracious. Professor of law, rather than calling for this, because we need to ask, what does this achieve? What does it achieve? What this achieves is that you become more lenient towards the worst that our society has to offer. So how about, instead of calling for this, instead, we call for instance, let's say that we find out that someone, because already you have to think about it, if you own this stuff on your computer, it's a crime. That's a crime. You can't own it. If you do anything to people who are underage kids, it's a crime. Behind bars and good luck. Already all of this is a crime. She began the article, think back to your first childhood crush. Oh my gosh, I feel like vomiting. What? Maybe it was a classmate or a friend next door. Most likely, through school and into adulthood, your affections continue to focus on others in your appropriate age group. Yes. Or maybe like a small little difference, like 1 year, 2 year, but within an age group that still makes sense. I guess that happens. But imagine if they did not. No thanks. No thank you. How about we don't? Well, we don't imagine that. These people are living with this, a sexual attraction to this, that often constitutes a mental illness. Yes, okay, I agree with that. Absolutely. Unfortunately, our laws are failing them. No, they're not. How are our laws failing them? And consequently ignoring opportunity to prevent. Okay, so this is fine. Prevention should be the focus of anything we do. But sympathizing is not going to help. She then turns to Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders definition, describing it as an intense and recurrent interest in this group of people. And a disorder, if it causes a person marked distress of interpersonal... I don't care about the marked distress. These psychos. I think we know where this is going. It's exactly what I thought. But that's where we are at. That's where we are at, my friends.